and welcome to Owlsports Update. I'm Jillian Marshall with Sam Pipard. We all watch Temple football players on the field. Coming up, we'll take a look at some of the players off the field.
And Temple women's field hockey had an amazing undefeated start to its season. Then Lafayette came to town. We'll fill you in on a double overtime thriller. But first, the football team plays an overtime thriller of its own. When you look at last season, it's easy to remember the record-breaking 9-game win streak. What most people might forget, the Owls actually started off the year with 2 straight losses. Coming into last Saturday's game against Central Michigan, the Owls were in unfamiliar territory. A win would give them a 2-0 start for the first time since the 1981 season. Okay, Al Golden said before the game that the Owls are a team who could score a lot of points, but the first half is all about D. Temple's first drive of the game sets up Mayor's Cup hero Brandon McManus for a 44-yard field goal, which he kicks a little too far to the right. Now, when I said earlier that the first half is all about D, linebacker Steven Johnson was that D. On CMU's second drive of the game, Johnson forces a fumble that's recovered by the Chippewas. On the very next play, Johnson strikes again, picking off Ryan Radcliffe. This time, Temple holds on to the ball. The Owls' first drive of the second quarter sets up McManus for another field goal from 38 yards, which is no good. McManus must have Mayor's Cup hangover. Still no score. Temple's next drive would lead to a touchdown, though, as Bernard Pierce runs it in, and the Owls now lead it at halftime, 7-0. Look at Pierce driving it in. Here's Alex Joseph on his thoughts in the first half. He's a former linebacker for the Owls.
It's have a shutout, really. This game they should blow them out right now. They should be blowing them out already, but, I mean, Golden decided probably trying to step on their throat.
Left into the third quarter, and Paris Cotton rushes a yard for the touchdown, and the game is now tied. With 2 minutes left in the third, Brandon McManus gets another shot at a field goal from 31 yards, and he finally makes it. Temple up 10-7. But Central Michigan would tie it back up in the fourth with a field goal from David Harmon with a minute left. And so we go to overtime. And here's what Alex Joseph said to Kiara Griffin before OT.
Kiara Griffin there towards the end.
I told him to make a play. I mean, we need the ball. I said, be the one to make that play.
And sure enough, Griffin used his advice as Griffin gets the interception, which sets up who else but Brandon McManus for the game-winning field goal. And finally, the Owls get some redemption. This overtime win is big in many different ways. The Owls not only beat the defending conference champs, but Central Michigan's loss snaps its 18-game win streak against East Division foes dating back to 2004. This is also the first time in Temple history that the football team won in overtime. Temple has started out their season with an undefeated record for the first time since 1981. Junior Muhammad Wilkinson is the MAC Defensive Player of the Week. Plenty of stats, but they're all good ones. With the 2-0 start, the Owls are getting us ready for what could be a memorable season. Updates Josh Rotenberg spent his summer covering the football team during its training camp. He gives us some insight on what's behind the Owls' recent success dating back to last year's 9-game winning streak.
The Temple football team's off to its best start in 29 years, 2-0, and there's one big reason.
Number one, we're playing more people now, which is good, which means we have some maturity and some experience. So when you play a lot of people, the lanes close down a little bit quicker.
The Owls' first 2 games have been tough, and what Coach Golden would say, anything but easy.
These are good opponents we're playing. These are teams that know how to win. And they're championship teams, and they're teams that are relentless.
If you talk to any member of the Cherry and White, they'll tell you there's a strong team chemistry and trust that's been contagious throughout the locker room.
It just shows the unity we have and how much love we have for each other.
We don't berate kids. You know, we stay with them. We know when they make a mistake that no one feels worse than them at that moment. And that's the kind of cohesiveness that we want to have. That's the kind of partnership and trust that we want to have.
You trust all of us, and everyone loves each other. That's why I feel like we're together.
Not one player is bigger than the whole team, and the coaches remind them any chance they get.
The coaches made sure I stayed humble, and the teammates always had faith in me.
After those 2 nail-biting wins, the Owls know they have a lot of work to do.
We have to be more disciplined. You know, we got to be better with penalties, and we just got to keep our poise a little bit better. But, you know, the guys are staying together, and that's the mark of a team that can be really good if they'll stay together.
Back-to-back weeks now, the Owls have found themselves in similar situations. A Chester Stewart mistake, but a Brandon McManus game-winning field goal. The Owls have now done 2 things they've never done before: win the Mayor's Cup and beat Central Michigan. Reporting for Owlsports, I'm Josh Roltenberg.
Temple will travel to Penn State on September 25th to take on the Nittany Lions. Temple hopes to change the recent history and beat Penn State. But first, the Owls play the Yukon Huskies on September 18th. The Huskies, an early favorite to win the Big East, are coming to the link with a 1-1 record.
One thing is guaranteed when Temple takes on UConn, eventually. You're going to see an odd finish, whether it's the touchdown that wasn't in 2007 or the holding call that no one really saw 1 year later. The Huskies versus Owls is always a good one, as we saw in 2008, thanks to the voice of Owls' Harry Donahue.
Despite the weather, the Owls came ready to play, keeping UConn off the scoreboard for the first 3 quarters.
In play action, Lorenzen with time. Across the middle, is it picked? Yes, it is. Temple off the deflection with the interception.
In overtime, the Owls looked to get on the board before a tough call forced them to settle for a field goal.
Shelton's got it on the outside, trying to turn the corner, and he is down. There's a penalty flag.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. That's not even close
Is
to
he
being
going down
a
to
hold.
the pile there? The Owls would go on to suffer their first tough loss of the season.